You guys are still sleeping, my god. Did you guys sleep last night?
No.
Are you sure? Okay. So, as it started off yesterday as well, right now as a start as well, I'll tell you guys to put your mobile in silent. We tried moving as many tables away as possible. So, I would really want you guys to come off the tables. Come off of those chairs. Come off of those chairs. Great. So let's see. How many people are we short? We have a good strength, so we can have an icebreaker. I wanted you guys. Is someone confident enough to sing in the morning right now? You should have an applause for her. Really nice. You're the right person to come late today. Yes, please. I'm in trouble. Also. We were actually talking about singing only, and we wanted a volunteer, and that moment only you entered the room.
You can say your favorites.
Yeah.
Can't sing. I can.
Dance?
No. Yesterday I saw the video.
The last
Yeah.
one there's someone missing.
On the set.
Sorry?
I saw the video on the set.
The body language one?
So they said that if you can't do it, fake. So you can
Fake it till you make it. Yeah.
But I know there's someone else missing. There are more people missing.
Yeah, you're right. They also get the same thing. Yeah. Please go ahead.
You are my sunshine, my
Aww.
only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know just how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine away.
Great. See, that's what I call a sportsman spirit. That's exactly what I call a sportsman spirit. Yesterday when we ended our conversation, we said that when you come in today, you leave out your shyness, you leave out your egos, you leave out everything outside. You come in as someone humble, polite, with a sportsman spirit, ready to sing songs, ready to share a joke. Anyone got a joke today in the morning? Anyone?
Let's wait for them.
That's good. I'll make sure they sing as well. I won't let them leave you around. Okay, great, wonderful. So before we start, let's have a quick recap of what we did yesterday. We understood what leadership is about, not in terms of theories, not in terms of books, but what it is on the grounds. Then we talked about leaders versus managers. We said who are leaders, we said who are managers, and the need of time is to have more leaders, not managers. Right? Great. Then we talked about leaders are born versus made, and we concluded, or I rather said, as a conclusive statement, everyone has got those germs of leadership within themselves. It's all about polishing them. It's all about nurturing them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. Why are you guys still sleeping? Have I the calls? Okay. We talked about effective skills for a leader. We talked about how to ensure effective leadership, followership, sorry. We also talked about some decision-making strategies. You guys are all familiar with all the stuff that we did yesterday. I hope you guys haven't forgotten. Right? Does that make sense? Great, let's move on. But before we move on to our first learning objective for the day, which is managing the team, I would like to have an exercise with you guys. Not the yes one, though I would love to have it again, since you guys are almost asleep. I want you guys to get up from your seats. Let me find my whistle. I want you guys to get up from your seats, please. And I'll give you guys exactly 20 seconds. Within 20 seconds, you guys have to meet everyone in this room. As if you're meeting them after ages, a long lost friend, meeting them after 20 years maybe. Okay? So you have 20 seconds to do that. Your time starts at the sound of the whistle. And when I whistle, whistle again, you guys have to stop and get back to your seats. I'm not wait so long. I'll have it again after the tape. Okay, you start the sound of whistle, you enter the sound of whistle, and your time starts now. Have a seat, please. Thank you. It's very interesting. It's the first time I've done this activity in a group where there are so many females. Lower is yours. Yes, absolutely. It's okay. It's okay. It's up to you.
We can say happy birthday in Arabic. Like our hobbies.
Anything. Anything.
Happy birthday.
In Arabic, it sounds really nice. Like salam.
What did you say?
Anything.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday in Arabic.
A song. Give me a song. You can do it.
Happy birthday in Arabic.
Okay, I just recalled a joke, and I have to offend females here. But a couple of females were once sent to a women's prison for about 20 years. Both were sentenced for about 20 years. And they were in the cell next to each other. So they would talk. And of course, females talk. It's okay, we also talk. We also talk. After 20 years, when they were released from the prison, one said to the other, we'll talk later. It's okay, it's a female-oriented audience, so I don't mind. Anyhow. Okay, that's why this is back. Okay, anyhow, the activity that we just had, what was the crux of the activity? Any ideas? Why did I make you guys get up and meet each other? Energy, positive energy. Yes, ma'am. Knowing each other, positive energy, knowing each other. What else? Smiles. What else? Happiness, joy. Active. What else?
How to like get along with strangers.
How to get along with strangers. What else? What else? Come on.
Completing task
Team
on time.
spirit.
Great task on team spirit. What else? What else? That's it. Okay. Two very essential outcomes of this activity. There are a couple of people, I don't need to pinpoint anyone since it's a small group. There are a couple of people who stayed at their place. There are a couple of people who stayed at their place waiting for others to come to them. They greeted someone, others stepped to them, but then they said, okay, I'll meet her. I'll not meet her. Okay, I'll meet her. Selective, exactly. One case. The second case, no one came to meet me. No one came to meet me. Did you guys see that? That is so bad. No, I didn't say excuse me. I said, okay, the instructions were you have to meet everyone in this room.
Why you
The
didn't?
instructions were
Why you didn't come to us?
absolutely excellent point. Excellent point. Wonderful. That is the key learning of this activity. No one came to meet me because I did not take a step forward. I stood at my ground, I kept my ground, and I waited for anyone to come to me. Does that make sense? Now connect this to what we said yesterday. we should not wait for others to come to us, we should go to them. As a leader, as a supervisor, in the previous terms as a manager, in the designation as a manager, opening the door does not mean open door policy. Opening the door does not mean open door policy.
Means to invite people to enter.
Absolutely, you need to invite people, you need to go to people, invite, okay, yes, invite as well, but rather go to people, make them feel comfortable with you. That is the essential element, that's the foundation of a team. That's the foundation of what we will do today, managing the team. Does that make sense? So when you are part of the team, never think that, I'm the team leader, I'm the boss, I'm the manager, people should come to me. Otherwise, what's going to happen is what I quoted yesterday about the HR audit that we're doing. HR says people don't come to us. People say HR is too arrogant to go to. Sorry for quoting HR, but not your HR, of course. Yeah, correct. So,
She looks like the sweetest HR.
okay, let's talk about it in the break. Okay, so the point is, like we discussed yesterday as well, till I go to my people, I cannot expect them to come to me. I need to be the one who breaks the ice. I need to be the one who breaks the glass walls. Opening the door does not mean open door policy. There might be an invisible glass wall in front of you that people can feel that you cannot feel. You might say the doors are open, but why don't people enter into them? Because it's not the door, it's the mentality. It's your persona that stops people from coming to you. I have seen organizations where people have closed doors, yet very open communication with people. Because people don't mind standing up to them, people don't mind coming up to them and talking to them about their issues and concerns. It's not about the open door. You might keep a closed door. You might even not have a glass wall. You might be in a block group like this one. But still people might be comfortable coming to you because you're the true leader. Because you listen to people. Remember the first slide we had yesterday? What was that? What was that? People feel safe when they are heard. Right? Floor is yours. Floor is yours. That's why I get a break. Thank you. Excellent. See, that's what I call a sportsman spirit. HR, you should learn from them. Okay. So what do we mean when we say manage the team? As a leader, we need to manage the team, right? What does managing the team mean? I think till tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. I'll be waking you guys up. Right? Yes, sir.
Right person, right place.
Right person, right place.
Choose a task.
Excellent. Yes, ma'am.
Make sure everyone knows what to do and that they are working together.
Excellent. Everyone knows what they have to do. Remember all those things: inspire, shared vision, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Right? So managing team means giving the right person the right task to do. And continuing from where we left yesterday, never give them 100% resources. If you give them 100% resources, they won't be tested. Right? Can they be tested? They can't be tested. Because you're giving them everything that they want, they cannot be tested. Always under-resource them, not by a huge margin, but by a little bit. Okay? Does that make sense? Sure?
Yes.
You guys are... All of us had ours. Anyone else who wants coffee? Please have it, but please don't sleep. You didn't sleep last night, right? Okay, the art How many of us use that? Oh, wonderful. Yeah, sometimes. Okay, fair enough. Why is it essential to use a scheduler? Is it important to use a scheduler?
Yes.
To remind myself how to
To prioritize work. What else?
For me, I forgot a lot, so I use to-do list in order to remember.
Fair enough.
Also to like allocate how much time each task will take. Like something might be like 2 minutes, but something might be like 2 hours.
Fair enough. What else?
So have an overview of your tasks.
Fair enough.
Not
Anything?
miss out anything.
Not to miss out anything. There are pretty advanced applications since I assume all of us are using smartphones. There are a lot of apps that we can use for a scheduler. But honestly, I still feel very comfortable with the diary. And I still have it. You know, because I feel comfortable with it. I can plan my tasks ahead and I can prioritize my tasks as well. So when I turn to this page, yeah, absolutely. There's a very good comfort in ticking it off. You know, that I completed this task. There's a comfort with it. So what I do is, when I turn today's date, I realize that I've got 6-8 tasks ahead of me, and then I've started marking in front of it. This one needs to be done first, this one needs to be done second, this one I need to allocate to someone else, this one I need to allocate to someone else, and that's how priority goes. Prioritizing does not mean you prioritize your task, it does mean that, but in addition, it also means that you plunge out the tasks that someone else can do for you, and you give them those tasks. One person cannot do everything. One person should not do everything. Because that's not the team spirit. The team spirit is you let the specialist take care of the concern. You don't specialize in everything. You don't want a jack of all. You want the specialist to do their task. Does that make sense? Wonderful. So that's what prioritizing is about. Delegation. We talked about delegation yesterday, remember? What's it about? Did we talk about delegation yesterday? No, we didn't?
Empowerment.
Empowerment, okay. What is delegation?
Giving tasks to others so they can finish it.
Giving tasks to someone. And what else?
Authority.
Authority. What's the difference between empowerment and delegation?
Empowerment, you come up with ideas. Like the leader is asking you to come up with ideas. And delegation, they give you fixed tasks.
Fair enough, yes. Empowerment is ideas, delegation is giving them tasks to do. What else? This one.
Me?
HR.
Okay, so delegation is like the task you're going to delegate to someone you know that he's able to do it and you can do it. But empowerment is something you're not sure that you can do it, but you're going to help him to do it and give him a chance to actually practice it.
Okay, became a bit too complicated. Can you repeat that, please?
Huh?
I really get lost between words when it's too complicated.
Okay, so delegation, if I'm a manager and I want to delegate something to my employees, I know that that task he can do it, so I'm going to delegate it to him because he knows how to do the work. But empowerment, I know he's not quite sure to do it, so I'm going to give him the task to practice it and help him with it.
Okay, fair enough. Yes, ma'am. Empowerment versus delegation. Sorry. Yes, sorry.
Authority.
Delegation is authority. And empowerment? Yes, sir.
You're just giving someone sort of to do something.
You were pretty silent yesterday, right?
No.
You're in the line of fire today.
Sorry?
You were very silent yesterday.
Today?
Yesterday you were silent, today you're in the line of fire. What is delegation versus empowerment?
Delegation, giving someone tasks to do
And
something.
empowerment?
Encouraging them to do his work in the best way, in a good way.
Okay, fair enough. What else? Yes,
I
ma'am, you were
think
saying something.
delegation, you restrict them in doing a task, but if you empower them, you give them the freedom of having their own ideas, putting their own.
Fair enough. Anyone else? Delegation versus empowerment?
Delegation can be done in absence of leadership as well. Whereas when it comes to empowerment, we definitely require leadership.
Okay. Anyone else? Empowerment versus delegation. Anyone else? No one? Okay. Empowerment and delegation both can be done by the manager as well. Both can be done via the manager as well. But the manager would require a degree of autonomy as in should be described in your job description, that I give you a power of certain decision making and I grant you certain autonomy for some tasks. Okay? But as a leader, okay, leave aside leader versus manager. Delegation means assigning tasks. Empowerment means giving the authority to do those. Both without each other are very meaningless. You give someone a task, but you don't give them authority. Or you give someone authority, but you don't give them the task. It's half situation. So a complete blend would be that you give someone authority, you assign them a task to do that authority, to exercise that authority. Does that make sense? Delegation is about assigning tasks. Okay? And we encourage leaders to delegate their tasks, to get things off their plate. Why is that?
There's a
Yes,
difference.
ma'am.
Yeah. Because in delegation, it's about what you give to someone else. It's not about the task that person has. The task may come from someone else.
Whatever you're assigning is a task.
Yeah, but I'm not necessarily assigning it. It may come from someone else.
You as a leader, when you're assigning someone a task from your own plate, that's what delegation. No?
For example, my manager gives me a task. It means she's delegating the task from
Yes,
herself.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if I get the task from somewhere else, for example, directly from the business, it's not delegated to me. It's not delegating to the person.
It's again a sort of delegation only. It's a delegation only. Delegation is assigning tasks. Now I can delegate your task, she can delegate your task. No?
I don't know.
You don't agree?
If I get a task from someone else and I take on the work, definitely I will delegate it.
That's more like voluntary, I think, right? I mean, it's not like delegation. It's more like voluntary.
Okay,
Yeah, and
let's
you can choose
okay,
to
let's-
accept it or you can reject it.
let's consider an example. You say you're in credits department. Okay? HR is going for hiring fresh graduates in say Middlesex University. Okay? They ask you that since your department requires people, you come along with us. Or you shortlist these, you take these CVs, you shortlist candidates for us. So they're delegating the task to you. Their task
They're
is
asking
delegated
me,
to you.
they're not delegating.
Sort of delegating. Comes under
Okay,
delegation.
depends how you look at it.
Could be. But as we see it, it's about delegating. So your line manager could delegate you tasks, your business partner can give you a task, your HR can give you a task. All the tasks coming to you are called delegation. Okay? If they say that the tasks that you, for example, you're shortlisting CVs, those that you shortlist will be called for the interview. Means you've got an authority to shortlist. Right? But if they say that after you shortlist, your manager will also have a look at it, means they're restricting your authority. They're not giving you complete empowerment. Does that make sense? So like we said yesterday, that we take the child gradually forward. So the first time HR asks you to shortlist the profiles, they are giving you a certain bit of empowerment. And then of course they'll check themselves. But gradually, as that trust builds up, as you gain the momentum on shortlisting profiles, gradually you'll say, whatever profiles you're shortlisting, we call them for the interview. So that's extreme empowerment. Does that make sense? In terms of delegation, we never delegate tasks that we do not put people in the deep end of the pool straight away. We gradually put them towards the deeper side. That's why the pools are gradually they go deeper. From 3 feet they go up to 6 feet, 6.5 feet. Right? Does that make sense? So when you talk about task delegation, you need to analyze the person who's working under you. And here's the key. For example, when I joined a company as an assistant manager, I was assigned some tasks which were very clerical. And I thought that, is an assistant manager actually supposed to do all this? I said to myself, no. I need some bigger tasks. So I had a thirst, I had a hunger for a bigger task. So I went to my manager and I asked her, why are you giving me a clerical task? She said that once you perform better on this, we'll give you a bigger task. And then a bigger one, and then a bigger one, and then a bigger one. But we cannot give you a bigger task straight away. We need to know what your swimming skills are to put you in the deeper end of the pool. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That is the quality of a leader. A leader will give you tasks gradually, gauge how you're improving, coach and mentor where you require, and gradually grow you. Does that make sense? That is the concept of delegation. Unfortunately, what we see or what we listen to people is that you should delegate with extreme authority and empowerment. That is wrong. If someone says that, please correct them, it's wrong. Because if I own an organization, I cannot risk giving a huge task to someone who does not have proven himself. Does that make sense? So if the owner of the organization cannot risk that, as a manager, as a leader, you should not do that as well. Does that make sense? Because at the end of the day, it's the organizational repo at stake. Right? So,
Yes.
great. Motivation. What is motivation? What is motivation? Something else? Okay, the smiles here actually show me that motivation is lacking. Motivation is this cup of tea for this lady right now. Now can you define motivation?
Anything which boosts the energy.
Okay, boosts energy. Yes. So I think Sting should be the top motivator, right? Or Red Bull maybe. Right?
We are
It's the thing that keeps you going.
Something that keeps you going. Yes, ma'am.
Encourage them and make them active to do the task.
Can't hear you.
Encourage them and make them active.
Can't hear you.
Encourage them.
Okay, yes, better.
Yeah.
Encourage them.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Motivation is an inner drive. And something that supplements that inner drive are called motivators. Technically, the Maslow's and the X and Y theories and all, they say that money is a motivator, but yesterday we saw money is not the motivator. It's about how you keep people.
That's
Yeah,
motivation.
it's not probably the
Certainly.
okay.
And
Money.
promotion is important.
Sorry?
Promotion.
Promotion. Okay, fair enough. See, money is a cost to the organization. As a leader, as a manager, as a business owner, since a lot of you plan to start off your own businesses, there is a technical term that's called ROI. You know what's that? Return on investments. Whenever we do anything in our lives, successful people will always look at the ROI. Which is why when we talk about prioritizing, or tomorrow we'll talk about the 7 habits, we talk about allocating time for every activity. Because we know every activity is important, right? So we allocate time for our family, we allocate time for our friends, we allocate time for our sleep, we allocate time for the business, we allocate time for the job or the task that we get, right? So we need to look at the ROIs, right?
Yes.
But not necessarily for motivation.
Absolutely, in terms of motivation. When I'm motivating someone, I need to see what ROI am I getting.
No, not necessarily. Sometimes I'm motivating other people to do things where I don't have any benefits from.
Really? By the way, we discussed yesterday that human beings are lazy by nature. And listen to this very carefully. Human beings by nature, whether you agree to it or not, whether you like it or not, human beings are selfish by nature.
No, but like say you have a very close friend or colleague, and you can motivate them. You don't have any.
Think again.
Yeah, but in return, you get the sense of satisfaction, isn't it? Within yourself.
So think again.
It's not like
Sense of
non-motivating.
satisfaction,
Yeah.
acknowledgement, appreciation, the fact that you see people going ahead, that internally thrives you to help more people.
So you
So
yourself
that
are
yes, so there is
motivated.
always a return associated with all our actions. Even the stuff that we do for free, trust me, there's always an ROI.
For example, if you help someone, you want to like if you're in trouble, you will automatically look towards that person to so
It's always an ROI. In everything that we do in our lives, there is always an ROI. There is nothing free. I still remember the microeconomics book that we studied. I think it was Samuelson's 3rd or 6th edition, something. And I think it was chapter 3. At the start of every chapter, they would have a quote. And this quote said, "There are no free lunches on Walmart. There are no free lunches in this world." Whatever we do, starting from getting up in the morning, right? Yes, absolutely. Starting from getting up in the morning, going to the bed at night, everything that we do, even the prayers with due respect, all the prayers, any religion, of course all religions follow certain set of prayers, all the prayers that we do, everything has an ROI. I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but even we follow religion for an ROI. Don't we? We don't want to go to hell, right? Who wants to go to hell? Anyone? That's the primary reason we follow religion. So everything that we do in our lives is associated with return on investment. Motivation, we always look for an ROI, no matter if we are motivating someone or if we are motivating ourselves. For example, when I started training about, say, 10 years back, when I started teaching about 6-7 years back, and I've been teaching at university level, at postgraduate level, my first drawn salary as a postgraduate instructor in visiting faculty was less than an A-levels teacher, IGSC teacher. It was less than that. And people used to ask me, you drawing so less? Why do you teach A-levels or IGSCs and get better salary? I said it's an investment. Investment. When I conduct pro bono sessions in Pakistan and UAE, I conduct some free of cost sessions in different universities. People ask me, dude, you're wasting your time. 4 hours of the day delivery, 6 hours preparation for free? Really? That's a complete waste of time. It's an investment. There are 2 ways of looking at things. Either you look at it as a cost, or you look at it as an investment. When you look at it as a cost, you feel that your money is going down the drain. When you look at it as an investment, you realize that you get a return out of it. And your return actually drives your motivation. Drives your motivation for others. So the key element of getting people to perform is always telling them the ROI of the work they're doing. The essential element of getting work from people is by showing them the ROI that they're getting. I gave you guys an example yesterday of a student of mine who is not willing to take up a job and is working with me as an intern. There's about 3 job offers that he's turned down. And I mentioned that was a 6 weeks intern, and it's been 6 months now that he's been working with me. He has not taken up the job, he's interning. Why? Because he sees the ROI. You can get people to go an extra mile only if you show them the ROI. And it's just one additional sentence. You explain them the complete task, and with the task, you tell them that this task will bring this value addition to your profile. Just one sentence. And you'll see the difference in their motivation. Again, I'm sorry if you expected this course to have some theories or something of leadership. It doesn't. This is a very real life thing. You all have subordinates, you all have colleagues, you all have maybe kids, someone at home, blah blah blah. When next time you assign them a task, add this one line to it. This task will add this value to your profile. This task will add this value to your knowledge. And you'll see how people start performing. Because the only reason why people do not perform the assigned tasks is because they do not realize the potential ROI of the task. If they're able to identify, visualize, and feel the ROI that's coming in, they'll do it much better. Does that make sense? Sure? You guys still sleeping? And here from this side. Sleeping? Sleeping?
No?
Sleeping? Sure? What happened to you? Development. Drive from motivation. People want to develop themselves. we give them the opportunity? Only when we explain that this task will add value, again driving from the motivational aspect. What is development actually? Improvement.
Improving their skills.
Improving their skills. What else?
Gaining new skills.
Sorry?
Gaining new skills.
Getting new skills. What else? Sorry? Experience. Enhancement. What else?
Learning.
Learning. What else?
Knowledge.
Knowledge. What else? Growth. Yesterday, when my video went on Facebook, one of my previous audiences then messaged me, looks as if you look completely different. I said, yeah, I've had a haircut. What else is it? Sorry?
We were also on Facebook.
Is that a surprise? Okay, I'll tell you this is break.
So whatever we are saying is on Facebook.
Not everything.
Just a
Censored.
Facebook Live.
Censored. Okay.
He's going to decide.
So the guy said that your method of delivery has changed in the past 3 years. He attended one of my sessions 3 years back. He said it's completely changed. It's much different. I said, different for better? He said, yeah, of course, different for better, but it's different. I said, fair enough. Because we all need to learn and move ahead in life. We all need to have a development approach. We all need to give our subordinates a chance to come forward. Does that make sense? And this motivation and development, these two are the key variables that will make your subordinates stay with you for lesser salary. These two elements. Forget empowerment, forget delegation, forget everything else. Of course, those are important as well. But if I'm to rank these 1 to 10, motivation and development, those two things singly would hold anyone to stay with you even if you pay them less. And particularly in the banking sector, we see it very often that when, for example, a team leader of investment banking, corporate banking, he switches, he generally takes his team along, the good performers, doesn't it?
Yes.
Why do they hang on to the team leader? Why not to the organization?
Because you help them develop and grow.
Absolutely, because people do not leave organizations. People need managers. So if they are going with the managers, means they are leaving the organization for the manager. They leave the organization for the manager, either with the manager or without the manager. But the manager will always be the primary reason for leaving the organization. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if you've got a high attrition rate, a lot of people leaving the organization, you need to look at the managers under whom people are leaving. Try stopping those people who are leaving. Try asking that person to go. I won't say the next word. Okay? Communication. What's communication?
Expressing your views and your
Introduction.
Why is that important in a team?
2 ways of communication.
Why is it important in a team to have communication?
To understand each other.
To understand each other. What else?
to be on the same page.
To be on the same page. Excellent. What else? Sorry? To do teamwork. What else?
Communication is measured successfully not by how well you say things, but by how well you are understood by the other.
Fair enough. What else? I've recently developed an equation. I'm not writing a complete equation here, but I'm just writing 2 variables. One variable is called expectations. The other is called outcome. Till the expectations are clear, you cannot evaluate the outcome. And this happens whether you agree to it or not, whether you like it or not, it happens in today's organizations. We don't clearly identify our expectations and we evaluate the outcome. I have not told you what I expect from you. Still, I want a particular outcome from you. And here I often quote the statistics, which is an alarming stat, by the way, not to scare you off. But the divorce rate in the world right now is about 67%. You know what that means? 2 out of every 3 couples end up in a disaster. I don't mean to scare them, but nice and polite kind of people, humble people, they are very reader-friendly faces. So, why does that happen? Any ideas? Lack of communication. Lack of communication. When there's a significant gap in communication, we do not deliver our expectations, yet we want the other person to understand. We don't deliver the expectations.
Especially when we want the husband to understand us.
I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you said it because I couldn't have said it. There's something that I've said without being said, and thank you very much for the support. I need to appreciate that in my community. Some people didn't like it, I'm sorry, but that's the ground reality of life. Anyhow, so yes, you don't want to say, but you want to be heard. Yes? So, I see a lot of smiley faces that are going down and thinking and relating to their routine examples that this is actually what happened.
That
But
shouldn't be every time, right?
sorry?
Every time we cannot communicate. Sometimes you should understand.
Okay, sometimes.
Only the person, maybe you know me for 10 years, he should know what makes you sad.
Exactly.
Understanding. First year, okay, still we understand. But no, it's not. Everybody.
It's okay. It's okay. No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying you.
My husband should be here.
I'll have a separate session with you.
Yeah,
You
you
guys-
can back the Facebook.
Yeah, you guys can actually send your husbands to a separate. Sorry.
More males in the class.
Actually, I do. I'm feeling kind of left out. Even the gentlemen are feeling kind of left out. But it's okay. 1.5 more days to go. Time flies. Okay. So communication is essential. Any relationship. Thinking that we'll be heard without saying, okay, we'll stick to the professional world, not getting into the personal life.
No, but what if you say and we don't understand? I'm talking professionally.
Also or only? There's a significant difference between also and only. Okay, we'll address the circumstances one by one. That's some angry face, isn't it? Okay. If you say and you're not being understood, see, it's very easy to pinpoint issues with the other person. In childhood, we used to have, I'm not sure if in IGSC you guys have the same thing or not, but the background that I come from, we used to have the matriculation and stuff. We used to have mathematics in the matric class, in the class 10. So you would always have a two-variable equation. Something like this. Okay? And another equation would say I don't know if you would get the sense or not. So we would have two equations and we would need to take out the value of x and y. Okay? There were two methodologies, simultaneous elimination and taking one value and plunging it into the other. In both the scenarios, in both the strategies, the basics were the same. And that is, you cannot solve both variables simultaneously. You need to keep one constant and you solve for the other. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that make sense? I see a couple of lost faces. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You cannot simultaneously solve both of these equations. You need to keep one constant. Say you keep y constant, you take out the value of x in terms of y and you plunge it here.
Yeah.
And then you solve both the equations. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, life is pretty much the same. We cannot solve both variables at the same time. You need to keep one constant. And since the other person, let it be your boss or your fortunate other half for the females, okay? He's fortunate, right? Not commenting on your fortune, but he's fortunate, right? Have to be half of it. Okay, so since he or she in your case not listening, you keep them constant. You keep them constant. And you work on your own self. I cannot do anything about my boss. Okay? So I'll keep my boss constant and I'll see where I'm going wrong. Remember one thing, I'm always right when I look at myself from my perspective. I cannot be wrong. Can you be wrong when you're looking at yourself from your own perspective? Okay, let's make it simple. Let's make it simple. Is this 6 or 9? Is it 6 or 9?
Someone see it 6 and others see it 9.
Sorry?
Some see it 6 and some see it 9.
Excellent. Some see it 6, some see it 9. From my perspective, if I see from here, it's 9. But that does not mean the one who says 6 is wrong. Which means as long as I see the situation from my end, I'll always be right. Right? So I need to audit myself. I need to keep the other person constant. I cannot do anything about it. Whether it be with husband or boss or colleague or subordinate, even subordinate for that matter. You keep them constant. Cannot do anything about them. I can change myself. And the situation will change. Because the only thing in my control is myself. The other person is not in my control. I can influence them, but I cannot change them. I can change myself. And they say, like we heard yesterday as well, change starts from an individual self. Right?